Hello. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from Ghana. I'm Rosalind Team, a final year petrochemical engineering student at the University of Mines and Technology. And I'm so honored today to be your host for the program. Before we box on, I would like to introduce our distinguished guest for today. So we have in our midst the CEO for Aspire Business Network and an experienced senior business consultant with over a decade of experience in business, startups, growth strategies, and government contract negotiations. He leads a dynamic team dedicated to delivering top tier consultancy services that drive performance and innovation for businesses of all sizes. Over the course of his career, he has launched and guided successful ventures, enhanced organizational recruitment strategies, and negotiated high value government contracts. Notably, in the last 5 years, he has closed deals exceeding over $500 million with a major focus on education and employment related agreements. This demonstrates his deep commitment to creating lasting impact through opportunity and development. His passion for solving complex challenges and building strategic partnerships continues to fuel sustainable business outcomes. Please join me in welcoming an exceptional leader and a visionary, Mr. Kwame Enchi. Hello, sir.
Hello, Rosalind. How are you doing?
You're welcome to today's interview. We are so honored to have you here.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. I'm also very honored to be on the platform talking to you.
Okay. So before we box on, I would like you to introduce yourself and then tell us a bit about Aspire Business Network and how you came about it.
Sure. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you. As I think you've done most of the professional introduction, but I live in Michigan with my family. I in Ghana. I attended. Well, I was born in Sunyani. I was born in Sechedumasi, grew up in Sunyani, grew up in Kumasi. I attended University Primary. I went to Prempeh. Then after that, during that era, we used to do national service after secondary school. So I did my national service at KNUST. And then I moved to the United States to attend Andrews University, where I studied political science and business, and also have a background in communications. I have um, I have tried a few businesses in my life, but I currently work for Aspire Business Network, which has been in existence since 2011. And I think, as you said, we have a major emphasis on trying to help people. So we have agreements with universities, we have agreements with employers where we train people and have them fill different positions around the world. So that
Wow.
is a little bit about myself.
Wow, this is really inspirational. So, what really inspired you to focus on helping students across global opportunities?
So Aspire Business Network was actually just a general consultancy. So that was never trying to help students and things of that nature was really never my focus. It was just an accident. I did an agreement for a university, and then I discovered some opportunities, and I realized, there was a time I used to be in that position where I was an international student looking for opportunities and couldn't find them. And then I also realized that there were no organizations actually taking care of that group of people. So then I decided to see what else could be done there. But it's been a blessing. Um, we once I was done with that agreement, then I decided to kind of rechannel and refocus my
From
business
where I'm
into.
coming from and all of that. It's you bringing up this initiative is very, very good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So there's the F1 visa course is about so
There
that
was
we
a
as
bit of
students can really understand.
there was a bit of a disconnection, so I didn't get the question.
Oh, so sorry. I'm saying that I'm really glad about this your initiative. You've really done well because we as students we really struggle with this kind of opportunity. You bringing it up is really good. Thank you very much. So to our next question, I want you to talk a bit about what the F1 visa is about.
So an F1 visa is
That
anybody who wants to study in the United States as an international student uses a visa called the F1 student. If you're going through the traditional educational path, I know there are a few. I think they have J1, they have M visas and things of that nature, but most students fall under the F1 status. So if let's say you decided to come here to study, it is very likely that the visa path that you will use is called the F1 visa. And then if you had a dependent, let's say if you were married or if you had children, they'll be F2 because they are not coming to school. So the person who is going to school is the F1. The relative or the family member that they are coming with is F2.
oh okay. So what are some of the common mistakes students make during the F1 visa application process?
Common mistake. So I think that the F1, um, you are coming here to go to school. So that is the primary and the only focus. So when you are filling the forms and everything that you're doing towards getting an F1 visa, you have to keep that in mind. It's not that you're going to school so that you can work in the United States. The idea is that you are coming here to go to school. I think from experience, from dealing with students since 2016, what I have realized is that a lot of people they get ahead of themselves. So instead of focusing on just I'm going there to go to school, some people indicate that they are coming here to go to school so they can work. I mean, we've even had people say things like, um, I just don't even want to go to school. I just want to go and work. So people make very silly mistakes
Okay.
based on something that they have heard, or they get ahead of whatever objective that they want to do. When you are filling the F1 form, the focus should be that I am going to school. I am going to this particular school because of A, B, C, D, and that when I am done, I will return back to my home country to do whatever it is that you intend to do when you get your degree. Okay, so
Okay.
I'll give you the perfect scenario. I had a student. Um, she graduated and she's back in Ghana working. And when she was coming, when she got to the embassy and she was asked what she was going to do, she was very specific. She told them, "I'm going there. I'm going to go to do business so I can return and help my mother with her business." And
Okay.
she was at the embassy with her mom's bank statement. It clearly showed that her mom was a business person. So
Yeah.
that is an advantage. Now, if she had said, "I'm going there to study business, and when I'm done, I'll go and work for Google or something," then obviously um, it's not going to happen. Another common mistake that I've seen that people make is misrepresentation. Some people actually have very good intentions, but they rely on people who advise them, and then they go and misrepresent facts. Okay, so
Yeah.
people will say, "Oh, I have a scholarship." They'll go and fake a scholarship letter, thinking that the person who is doing the interview won't notice. But they do figure these things out. Okay, so misrepresentation is a big issue. People using fake bank statements and getting caught. People writing fake letters about what they've done in the past and it not being true and getting caught. About 90% of the time, the people, when they show us their documents, the original documents, we know that they have a stronger case with the original document, but someone will tell them, you need to say this, you need to say that. It's not always true. So if you think you have a deficiency, what you need to do is to work on it, not to go and misrepresent facts. Because when you get caught these days, not only will it be a situation of being denied the visa, um, you can also be banned, where you can't even go back if you wanted to.
Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Please, can you hear me now? I think we had a network problem.
No problem. It's understandable.
Yeah. So as you were saying that some of the students they lose focus. The main motive is for them to go and study with the F1 visa. But then when they get there, then they want to work and all of that. I think that's where we got to when all of a sudden the network went off. So please if you can continue from there.
Yes, I was saying that misrepresentation is a big issue. Whatever you have, make sure that you present those facts. And if you don't think you're ready, what you need to do is to go and prepare yourself, okay? Because when you engage in those misrepresentations and you get caught, not only will you be denied the visa, you may also be banned. Then you won't be able to reapproach, at a later time. And actually, because I think that the network is still being an issue with most people when they come to us and we review the documents they have more than what is needed. It's just a matter of them being able to tell their story the right way. But they depend on people who sometimes you later realize they don't have the experience, neither do they know what they're talking about, or maybe for different interests. Because sometimes you have where people are charging for these services. So they want to feel like they're doing something. So they'll tell you, and you go, and then you realize that it doesn't quite work that way. So don't misrepresent facts. Make sure that you are ready. And if you have an offer but you're not ready, try to go and prepare yourself so that you can present the right type of information, so that you are not, going there and telling different stories where it can jeopardize your future in so many ways. See, the world is becoming much smaller now. So something that you say now that you may think, oh, I'm just saying it to this one person. Whatever you tell these visa officers, they record them. Not, they type them down, they make notations, and you don't know where else that may affect you. So one day you may go for an interview in Australia, and or go for an interview in Canada, and they'll pull it up and say you went and told a lie at the US embassy this many years ago. Explain, and if you're not able to do it, then that may be it. And we are actually moving to a space where in the future, I'm very sure even employers from around the world may rely on some of these things that may have been said somewhere that you are not even aware was being recorded, and maybe they may be able to use it against you. So I don't think it's a good idea. I think we're still having some technical difficulties, but because I kind of know some of the questions, let me see if I can see the questions she sent me, then I can get ahead of myself. So the next question, I believe, was if the recent changes that has been made to the F1 status and how it affects people. So with regards to that, I think the government has issued a new statement saying that people can now begin to apply for F1 visas. So for those who had existing visas, they have been able to, existing appointments have been able to continue um, with those appointments. But for those who didn't have any appointments, now you can book those appointments. So that is a good thing. I think the modification they needed to make was to make sure that they had included the social media requirements. So actually, what's happening now is when you go for the interview, they 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 um, they basically they don't force you, but you are asked to make your social media platforms public so that the visa authorities can review. And once they can make those revision, then they can go ahead and what do you call it? They can go ahead and then make an assessment based on what you post on social media. So now you have to be careful what you write. Well, it's always been the case. Be careful what you write or put on social media, because they are carefully scrutinizing your social media presence and making decisions based on what you've been saying on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. They're making judgment calls based on those type of things.
Hi everyone. I'll be stepping into for Rosalind because she's having some technical issues with her network. So I'll be taking over from Rosalind. Um, Talking about the whole Facebook thing, would you advise that we minimize how we post about political issues and then school issues pertaining to the US government on our Facebook and social media?
I wouldn't. I would say that you have to be responsible, because in life you are required to be responsible, right? So just be consistent, be responsible. Don't post things you cannot explain or justify. There's never a good time for you to be hateful or to disrespect people or to call dirt on different countries and things of that nature. So just be responsible on social media, as you will be when you come to school in America. You realize that you have to be responsible. You are judged based on your actions. So to continue to be a responsible person, and don't post things that you cannot defend in the future on social media.
I actually like what she said. Be responsible in your post, and then we should all be kind in our comment sections too. Now let's divert a bit to the school application thing. I'd like to know, from a student's point of view, what will make me stand out in my application to any of the US schools?
That's a very good question. US schools, obviously, just like any other schools, they will use um, your academics to as part of the decision making process, but it's not just that. From our experience, they want you to be a well-rounded student. So you have to, if let's say you are a student, you were good, moderately good, that's fine. You have to always look at the school's minimum requirements before you waste money paying the application fee. Once you've met the school's minimum requirements, there are other things you can do. Like if, let's say, you played sports, it's very important to highlight it, even if you're not going to university to do sports, because it also shows a certain attribute of your character. It shows that you are someone who can juggle more than one thing at a time. It shows a certain level of discipline if you are part of a school team. So if you did sports, if you do music, whatever extracurricular activity you do, it is important to do it. As an organization, we have some schools that we work with where we have scholarships that are embedded in our program. So you don't have to do anything. You just have to be accepted to the school and we'll be able to guarantee the scholarship. But there are other schools too where you have to, um, the merit-based scholarship type schools where you have to show that beyond your GPA or your grades, you can also do well in standardized testing. So the SAT is a good thing to do. The GRE for a graduate student or GMAT, they are good things. They can get you some very good scholarships. Actually, for most universities that I know, if you're trying to get full funding, you have to do one of those tests where it's applicable. So you have to do the SAT if it's undergraduate education, and the GRE or GMAT if it's graduate education. So that's very important. That's a very good question. Those are things that, and if you can get character assessment, they have to be relevant. So, your friend writes you a character assessment, whatever recommendation is good, but it's probably not the best. Your professor writes it, it's very good. If your employer writes it, it's also very good. If your pastor writes it, that's also very good. Some schools will tell you the type of recommendations they need and who they need it from. But other schools too are okay with whatever you can provide. They can add it and amongst other things make a decision on whether they will let you into the school or not.
That's very good to hear. And talking about recommendation, I wanted to ask, if aside recommendation, are there any other things the school looks out for? Because when I was applying, they asked for other things aside my recommendation letter. So could you please highlight some of the things they require from us when we are applying to a school?
Are you talking about the application, the admissions portion of it, or let's say the
No,
I-20 portion of it, or?
no, the application process, what goes into it? Because when I was applying, I was asked to
Mhm.
submit my CV.
Sure.
So I want to know the other things aside recommendation letter. What are the things that are expected of your students to provide during the whole application process to help them excel or to get them to a 90% probability of getting an admission from a school?
Yeah, a CV is also in a way it's also reference because you are referencing where you've worked before, right? And you're also
Mhm.
quantifying your academic credentials and your employability and employment credentials. I think what they're looking for is discipline. So if you are someone who, you know, you jump from employer to employer in 1 year, you've worked with, let's say, 4 employers, then they have to ask a question why this is the case, why you keep sort of jumping around. They may not deny you based on that, but they will make a decision based on maybe your explanation of why you have so many employees in a year. So yes, having a good resume is good. Having a good statement of purpose is also good because a statement of purpose, you are telling them about yourself, why you want to be in that field, your experiences. Is it because your father did it? Is it because your family, they all do those things? It gives you the chance to also explain your passion. So yeah, that's also very important. Writing a very good statement of purpose. Statement of purpose, I don't think disqualifies people unless, of course, you write 500 words and we have grammatical errors and things of that nature, in those things, then obviously they have to question, your ability to be in graduate school.
That's right. I agree with you so much on that. Um, is it good to apply for scholarships before an admission decision is made or after? And then how soon should I start looking for scholarships when I have an interest in applying for a school in the USA?
Every school is different. So I think with most schools, they give you the criteria they look for in applying for the school and the scholarship. From
Mhm.
experience, most schools, well, some schools, the admissions decision comes with whatever scholarship that they want to give to you based on what they have seen. But I've also seen a few schools where you can apply for the scholarship after the fact, after you've been accepted. Those are usually need-based scholarships. So they will say, oh, this person has this need. So maybe I have accepted, I want to come to your school, but I'm not able to because I can pay for this. Then the school, they can check into their foundations and their endowments and see, okay, we have this amount of money to support you. Okay. And then we also have instances where a person can also apply for things like teaching assistant positions and things of that nature. That is usually done after you have been accepted into the school.
Okay, so what are some of the things that makes a student stand out during the application? What do they look out for?
Your grades, your extracurricular activities, if you have any. If you've taken the standardized exam, even if the school doesn't require it, just provided if you did well, especially. Um, as I was just saying, your statement of purpose, because it explains your passion. It explains why you want to do the program. It explains a lot. It tells a story about you because you see your grades and your standardized testing and even your extracurricular activity cannot explain that maybe you had some challenges growing up, or maybe you grew up in an environment where education was not easily accessible. So that may be able to explain maybe why you didn't do well at a certain time in your life. You see, so the statement of purpose is a very good place to highlight why you think you you deserve that admissions and you deserve that scholarship.
Oh, okay, okay. So, are there specific programs or fields of studies that are currently having more funding or scholarship availability, or is open to any field you want to study?
For the scholarships that we manage, and I think, as you rightfully said, if we put together all the schools that we work with and the different financial incentives that we have with those type of schools, we have over $500 million worth of scholarships when we quantify the dollar amount of resources that we have. Okay, for those schools, as long as the school offers the program, we can guarantee that scholarship for you. Okay, but generally speaking, um, I think different schools have different focus. Like there's a school in California called Loma Linda. They have they are mostly healthcare related. Okay, and so obviously they will channel a lot of their resources in that direction. But you may have a different school that has a different focus, so the scholarships they have will sort of support that focus. So when you want to do something, you want to be an engineer, right?
Yeah.
So you look for an engineering school and you look for the programs they have, and you realize that they may have more engineering related assistance than, let's say, if somebody who goes to that school to do law. Okay, that is not to say that um, what do you call it? They may not have law scholarships, but I'm saying the school's focus is very important. So when you're looking
All
for a
right.
school, it's very good to do that kind of research to make sure that whatever you want to do aligns with whatever resources that they may have.
Okay, okay, okay. That's nice. That's understandable. Okay, so let's dive into working while studying. So, as a
Mhm.
student, as you've gotten the scholarship to study outside, what are some of the opportunities that exist for international students to work while studying in the US?
Sure. So I'm not a lawyer, but I'll use my experience to explain, and then I'll let Equia also chip in there because she's a student, and so she can talk about working. But
All
international
right.
students are allowed to work 40 hours per pay period. No, I think it's 40 hours a week, and you
Okay.
are allowed to work. You are allowed to work part time. Let me not do the hours thing. You are allowed to work part time as a student, so you cannot work full time. You are allowed to work part time on campus as a student, but after
Only
two
on campus?
consecutive, only on campus.
Okay.
But after two consecutive semesters of being enrolled, when the semester is off, so in the summer, you can actually work full time on campus. Okay.
All right.
Now, there
Okay.
are instances where a student may come here and their financial resources may dry up. They can apply to USCIS for a work permit so that they can work off campus. Now, if you get that authorization, the authorization would describe how many hours you can work off campus and things of that nature. Okay. There's
Okay.
also something called CPT, where it's curriculum practical training, where if let's say you are doing engineering and there is a company down the street and they do the same thing that you want to do, and the school decides that if you go and work there, it will assist in your training as an engineer. You can apply. You have to apply to this through the school to get the CPT approved, and in that instance, you can work off campus for a period of time. I think it's up to 12 months. Most people do it for like 10 months or whatever. But the school has to approve it. So your international
Okay.
students office has to approve it. Your academic advisor has to approve it. The employer has to also know that you are working on CPT, and then and then you take it from there. But that's how it works.
Okay. So working with that particular company, is it more or less like an internship?
It is an internship.
Okay. 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 That's
So
understandable.
let me see if Akia can chip in on that one and explain how working on campus in that experience.
All right.
Okay, maybe she's not available, so she will join.
Okay. So should we box on?
Yeah, you can go on.
All right. So, what should students know about maintaining visa compliance while working part time? Because right now, for what I've gotten, that means that you can't work outside any company. It's just in the school.
Yes, you are strictly required. If you are F1, you can work on campus part time, unless when on vacations when you can work full time. Okay, and it is very strictly applied. Sometimes some students make mistakes. One thing I want to tell everybody who's watching, who is either already here as F1 or intends to come, is that you have the responsibility to make sure you are compliant. No one else does. Okay. You have that responsibility. So you have to count your hours to make sure that you don't fall out of status. I want to make that
So,
clear. You have to make sure that you don't fall out of status. It's not the international office responsibility or USCIS responsibility. You have to make sure the ultimate responsibility is on you to make sure that even what your international students office tells you, you have to also go to USCIS website and make sure what they're telling you is consistent with what is on the website, because if you get out of status, they don't care. I mean, it's not that they don't care, but they are not held accountable. You are. The bond is between you and the US government. So, yes, it's very important to know that you are not supposed to work off campus, and that you also work within the hours that you are allowed to work.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you very much. I'm really enjoying the conversation. Hope you're also enjoying it.
I'm enjoying answering your questions. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's dive into your personal journey. I want to know what has been one of the biggest challenges you faced while supporting an international student, and what did you do to overcome it?
Well, it's a very challenging. It's a challenging responsibility because we are not like washing cars where if you don't wash it correctly, you can go back and do it better, right? We are dealing
Yeah.
with people's lives in real time, and there are a lot of legalities surrounding those things because the slightest mistake you make can be fatal in a sense. Okay. So some of the challenges have been people's circumstances changing once they get here. So they may have had the money to pay their tuition, but they get here and all of a sudden um, things change, and so they are not able to afford their tuition. What do we do? Okay. And also sometimes people not necessarily telling you the whole story. So I'm working for them with one assumption, but the reality is very different. And then at the end of the day, you find out, oh my goodness, if this person had actually told me the truth, it would have been easier for me to assist than not necessarily telling me everything. So I always tell students, for every problem that you're encountering, someone has been through it before, we've dealt with it before. So you just have to let us know, this is the issue, unfiltered. Then if we need to find a lawyer for you, we will find a lawyer for you. If we need to find a doctor for you, we find a doctor for you. We may not necessarily be able to solve every problem in-house, but we have resources where we can point you to the different people who may be able to assist. So it's always very
Okay.
important to be upfront. When you're talking to us, talk to us. If you want someone to help you with your problem, like if you go to the hospital right now and you don't tell the doctor your true symptoms, they will diagnose you all right, but it will be the wrong
Yeah.
diagnosis. It won't
Yes.
help you. So
Very
you
true.
have to be able to say, this is the issue that I'm encountering, and this is what needs to be done. We had a student who had the money to pay the tuition, but when they got here and the exchange rate started changing somewhere around 2020, 2021, all of a sudden the parents could not support them anymore. And she was almost out of status. I kept asking how are things. She kept saying everything is good, everything is good, until it became almost impossible for us to help her. And that's when she didn't realize that you can get a student loan as an international student, right? So she has stopped going to classes, but we didn't know anything about it. And if you don't go to classes as an international student, you fall out of status, you have to go back home. You become an illegal immigrant. So it's something that we don't want for anybody. So yeah, just tell us the truth, and we will do our best to also make sure that we help you. Telling us the truth doesn't harm you in any way. Then we can find different ways to assist.
So there's one quote I really, really love. The quote goes like this: a closed mouth is a closed destiny. So please, students listening, joining us today, make sure that if you have any problem, don't feel too shy to open up. Regardless of how difficult it is, if you share it, we'll be able to help you. Okay, so I want to know what are some of the advice you can give to students who feel so overwhelmed to apply?
It is probably easier than whatever applications you've done in the past. And there are so many scholarships out there that you qualify for that you may not even know. And if you are really serious about the prospects of, being, making that a dream that comes true, um, there are so many ways you can make it happen. So don't be intimidated by the process. Um, for what we do, our organization, we walk students through those challenges, right? Because sometimes I think one thing that I've noticed is that there are lots of times where how sentences are phrased or whatever, or how sentences are framed, uh, can confuse people, right? So they may give the wrong answers to whatever. So that's what we do. We try to explain those things to people. But the process of applying to a school here is not as difficult as you think. It's difficult because you've told yourself it's difficult. But once you get started and you stay focused and you really want to do it, you can do it.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so I want to know, are there master's programs for people in the university, final year students wanting to apply outside for their master's scholarship?
Yeah, for our organization, we have scholarships for associate's degrees, which in Ghana you call diploma. We have scholarships for bachelor's degrees. We have scholarship for masters. We have scholarship for PhDs, and we also assist after you graduate with job placement. We are not always successful, but we are mostly successful. So yes, there are financial incentives for all students. And if our organization have those resources, I'm very sure other organizations will have very similar resources for their people.
Okay, that's so nice. So, how can students start preparing early for their study abroad? What are some of the things they should do?
Get good grades. Um, Try to be on good terms with your professors because when they write recommendations, they count. Extracurricular activities are good, like you do. I follow you, so I know you are very active on campus. It's very good because it shows a certain mindset of the person. So if you are documenting it and other people can write references for you, it's fantastic. So all those things are very important. Start researching based on your interest. Start researching schools and what they may have for you, so that by the time you are ready to apply, you already have an idea where you want to go and why you want to go there. You know, and actually, those things help even in the visa acquisition process because when you have actually researched it, you have your information. When you are presented with questions at the embassy, you know how to answer them without feeling nervous or things of that nature. So it's very good. And when you are doing the application, even if our organization is helping you, be involved so that you know the kind of answers you give to the questions, right? Now, I don't think the embassies have the applications that we do for you. If one of them, like, the school's application, I don't think they have it, but they could probably tell when you're lying, So make sure that you are well abreast with everything that is about you. You are doing the DS-160, make sure you fill it yourself. Or if someone is helping you, make sure you know the information they are putting on there is accurate. Now that they are doing social media scrutinies, it is important that if
Yeah.
you don't have a master's degree, you don't go and put there that you have a master's degree because when they look at the DS1, whatever, they know your highest level of education, right?
Yes.
So be consistent, be responsible. I think that's the word. Be responsible that you don't price yourself out of something that could hold your future.
Oh, nice. Okay, so a question linking to this: when applying for your master's degree outside on a scholarship, are you to finish with your national service, or you can go for your master's degree and come back? How is that like? Because it confuses a lot of university graduates.
I don't think the schools here have an issue with you. They don't have anything to do with national service, but
Okay.
you have to make sure that you don't have any legal issues with national service.
Okay.
But getting the admission has nothing to do with national service. getting the scholarship has nothing to do with national service. Unless, of course, you are using a Ghana government funded program, then that one I don't know how it will work, right? But as far as I know, getting a scholarship here has nothing to do with Ghana's national service.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for rectifying that. So, what final words would you like to share with a young person like me who is dreaming to study abroad but doesn't know where to start?
Well, um, it is possible to do it, though it may be a bit daunting in the beginning. I'll say technology has kind of evened things out for all of us, including people who are very rich and people who are poor, because we all have access to the internet. Obviously, data may be expensive for some people than others, but we can all relatively go out there and look for some of the research. So do your research. That's the first one. Do your research. Make sure that you are applying to the right schools. You have checked their admissions requirement and you meet them. Okay. And then make sure that before you apply, you meet all the requirements because here your uncle cannot get the admissions for you. If you even if your uncle knows the president, they will not waive things for you. You have it's on merit. What the school academic website is what they're going to go by. So make sure that you meet the school's requirements before you apply. Regardless of what your transcript may be, you'll be surprised. There's a school for you. Okay. So just research till you find the right one. Um, it is always good to have funding, even if you are rich. It is always still good to go out there to see what fund scholarships or grants that you may be eligible for. Apply for those things. I have someone who said they applied for almost 100 scholarships and didn't get any, but luckily for them, we were able to help them with a scholarship. So apply for all the funding that you can apply
It's like
for.
I'm losing connection.
Sure,
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, please, can you come again? I lost you.
No, I was saying that apply for all the funding that you can apply for. It's very important to do that. Um, Make sure you get when you start the application, you have the resources, you have your references, you have a good transcript. If you have to do third-party transcript evaluation, make sure you do it. Make sure you have all those things done and then apply. But you can also reach out to us and we can assist because we have schools that we work with. But we also have a service where we help you apply to the school that you want to apply to. We have done very lots of applications, so we have experience what works and what does not work, right? And so that we can assist you. But I would like to do a little bit of a disclaimer based on the question that I have seen in one of the chats. We don't do visa acquisitions and all those type of things. We just help people with admissions and scholarships, and that's it. Because we cannot guarantee visa. Anybody who tells you they can guarantee a visa for you, you probably need to run away from that person because I don't know if that is possible. So we help with admissions, we help with scholarships, we help with funding. And when you get here, we have other resources that we can use to help you, but that's about it.
Hello. Hi everyone. There's a little bit of network connection, so I have stepped in again. Should we expect more of these events from Aspire Business Network?
Well, yes, this was an interview that was actually provoked by Miss Rosalind. So yeah, when we are invited, we'll show up and share what we can with people because the idea is to help people, especially people from um, less privileged backgrounds, but have you know aspirations of doing things in different places. So if you want to access especially American education, we are able to help people with other forms of education. But if you are trying to access American education, we'll be able to assist. And you just have to reach out. I don't know if there is a link or if Akuya, you will share an email
Yes,
address
I
where they can
will.
reach anyone, then we can be of assistance. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Th- Thank you for having this interview with us and for sharing your knowledge about the US education and then how to apply it from all over the world to the USA. It's been an honor having you here. And for everybody watching us, please, if you want to apply to a school in the USA, email info at aspireskillshub.com. We are open for the 2025 fall 2025 application and spring 2026 application. Applying now. We have so many schools we are working with, and we have newer schools too. So please apply to info at aspireskillshub.com for all of your application needs. We are here to assist you and walk you through your process. And even when you get into the USA, we are going to still walk you through the process until you're done with school and then you get a job of your dreams. Thank you all for having us today. It was an awesome experience, and I'm sure we've all learned so much from Rosalind, from Mr. Kwame Inchufrimpo, the CEO of Aspire Business Network, and we are happy to have you here. Oh, and then we can't wait to have you on our next session for our other interviews that will be coming up. Stay tuned for more programs. Thank you. Have a nice day, you all.